up to 9 AM in the London session. Just wanted to have a look at Bitcoin, as always, where we've come from and where we're going, because we've seen some interesting price action and developments as we move into Tuesday here. So we've come from this supply zone up here just short of 45k. From the last video we saw we're hitting a supply zone, mentioned volume was coming off, high open interest, and we can see that here. So red dots being our BTC diamonds and group spot alerts, sell alerts, so good take profits or hedge short positions as the volume was coming off from the perps traders, the spot traders, while we've got high open interest, and retail longs in the small red thin line here are still absolutely aping in the top of this smaller range here. And we know that from the funding as well. Funding has been absolutely ridiculous going into the weekend. I think Bybit hit 0.04 or 0.05 at one point that I saw. So risk off, hedge shorts positions here from last Thursday really was kind of cautionary tale. A lot of alts still did well running into the weekend, which was great to see. As Bitcoin holds, you can day trade, scalp those, and some alts are even just still doing well. They've hardly dipped. Bitcoin here, we got the drop, which was, I have to say, to be expected, to flush out some over leverage, reset the funding a little bit, and what we'll see here is we've got about a 7% drop. Straight away hit a BTC diamond, bounce up, you can almost call this wicker liquidation bounce, and then we come back to test it. And what we can see now here is we've got BTC diamond and group spot bid defending 45k, okay, as open interest comes down a little bit, funding's down a little bit, LS ratio down. So if we just look at the 15-minute chart here, if anyone's familiar with the volume king template, you'll see that this is like a nice cluster area just on the lower time frame. Open interest could probably still do with coming down a little bit more, but this is a nice cluster to see as volume starts rising again here. Okay, as we test this zone, this was towards the end of the US session yesterday, test this zone, and we'll go and have a look at that in the depth in a second. So nice short, take profit or take profit, and then I actually think this was a nice valid long, and we'll go through the reasons why in a second. While we're on this chart though, we're just going to look at the OBC for liquidity and see where we could be heading. If we go up to the higher time frames, the sell liquidity is all the way up now to 44.1. I'm not sure if we make that with without any kind of catalyst or news event. I don't know if we're going to go see that, but I'm certainly just observing as we go. So you have to almost zoom down a little bit, and what I'm seeing is this liquidity gap here into the mid 42. So 42.3 and over I think is a very valid region to look at for our next price action development really, and all you have to do is kind of draw a classic tier line under here, okay, and say, right, okay, does this zone now become our resistance, and we roll back over. We'll just have to see, but this is the immediate area I'm looking at for the top side. 42.3 and over, maybe fill some of this area. Does 43 become our resistance? We'll review as we go, but then down to the downside, we've taken a load of liquidity as it is down to 40k, but I've got absolutely no doubt you've got a big chunk riding lower, but that could take time to get to. I'd love it if we get that low, but does it happen in one clip? Probably not. Okay, so let's just have a look at that's volume. Let's just go and have a look at the depth quickly. So what we can see here is our general layout. So this was from last week. We said we're looking at that 44.6 zone to get clipped because we looked at the liquidity there. As we clipped that zone, we got a sell signal, okay, and that was a nice take profit on your longs or just hedge short again. You had to kind of ride that all weekend, but then you really got rewarded here with this 7%, 8% wick down, depending on what exchange you're on. Liquidation bounce, as I call it, because there's no real depth here, so everyone's liquidated. Price action just tends to bounce up, roll over, come back, test and confirm. Okay, so this was a mix of group spot and BTC diamonds. Remember, look at that open interest on the lower time frame, 15-minute, that was nuked as well. And also what you saw on the general depth here is general book depth, so all exchanges You had depth over 500 million here in the books. Okay, that's big bid. Yeah, that is really big depth. Don't fight that. So I actually think this was a very nice long, even if it's just for a bounce. We'll review as we enter this zone, maybe take out some of these Monday highs, so we'll just review as we go, but I think this was very valid. If we just flick back to look at the liquidity quickly, I just wanted to show that as well and what was happening up here. So as we entered the weekend, just on the 1 hour chart here, look at the way liquidity is just absolutely spiking up. 1.6 billion in perp, so a lot of contracts in the books and massive spikes in spot liquidity as well. So if you just zoom out to a 4 hour here, and you can see, if you're familiar with my templates, Liquidity King, people have got this saved as others as well. Just look at that. I mean, it's absolute cautionary tale. This is absolute killer template for the high time frame buyers. Took a while to roll over, but you got it. It's absolutely caution, high up in interest. Just be cautious there. Okay, so just to highlight again, this template, don't fight it. It's been absolutely brilliant through the bear market and the beginning of this run up in we'll call it bull run. You have to call it a bull run. We've been trending up for a while. All right, so just want to show that. So yeah, general depth, really good. Just going to review what we get up here. Alts are bouncing back nicely. B2C Dom taken over a little bit. You can see the spike there. I'm sure that will drop lower again if alts do want to take over, but again, just review as we go. And then I just wanted to have a quick look at ETH, because ETH did a similar thing following Bitcoin, but again, B2C, this was an ETH group spot bid here, and again, I think that was very valid long. The only thing to watch out for on ETH is classic TA. Again, just draw your line. Is that your resistance? And we can see spot top levels just dropping down slightly there to possibly defend. Okay, so ETH, yeah, I still think it's underperforming. I'm sure it'll have its day, but when does that rotation happen? Not sure. I'm sure it will do good in the long run, but at the minute BTC is still leading the way. Okay, so yeah, let's see what we get today. Big depth, come from demand. I always say, if in doubt, what was your last alert, or what was your last signal? We're not signal traders, but what was your last alert, or what was your last signal? And it was a long. Okay, so a short, long. We're in a long. Let's see what we get. I actually think it'd be really nice for this to hit some more supply and roll over. We can see some big top levels here at 38k. I know there's a gap at 39. I don't really care for CME gaps and all that shizzle, to be honest. I'm more of the opinion that gap gets front run, like here, or we come back down and we nuke through. I'm sure that 38 and below, there's a lot of liquidity down there, so that'd be nice, but can take time. At the minute, long from here. 40k was defended. See what happens over in this mid 42k level. Maybe we're in shorts at the end of the day again. We'll see. Okay, so live in the Discord at the US Open. Join us there, and have a great week. Cheers.
I bet your margins are pretty nice and fat.
Let's not talk about my margins, by the way.